Is that working?
Yes. Bueno, luego se puede cortar, ¿no?
Yeah.
Okay, start.
Hello and welcome to English Classes TV Shows Explained.
Hi.
So in this episode we're going to talk about the plot of The IT Crowd, Series 1, Episode 1. And Agatha, you have a question about series and season, yes?
Yeah, I always heard people saying season.
Yeah, this is a difference between English and American English. In English, the English we speak in England, we say series. But in America, they refer to them as season. Season 1, Season 2, Season 3. But in English, Series 1, Series 2, Series 3. So that's a slight difference between English and American English.
And the word for the TV show is the same for both countries?
Yeah.
It's TV show and TV show.
TV show.
Ah, okay.
Okay, so we're going to talk about the IT Crowd. So we have the first scene in which we see Jen and Renan sitting in his office. So what do they talk about? What happens in the first scene? Tell me what happens.
She's having an interview to get a job.
Yeah.
And it's quite funny because on her CV she put like information about her knowledge of computers.
Mm. As everyone does, everyone lies about their skills on their CV.
Yeah, but then when he asked her about skills, she said funny things like, I can click, I can double click, and things like this. I can receive emails.
Yeah, she's desperately trying to say things about computers, and she knows almost nothing.
Yeah. But it's quite funny because she lies, but still he wants to hire her.
Yeah, he doesn't realise she's lying.
Yeah, she's charming.
Yeah, so she gets put as the head of the IT department. Okay, so now we head down to the IT department and we meet the other two main characters, which are Roy and Moz. So what do we see Roy doing first?
But what we have to say first is the difference between the office of the boss and the IT department. Like the boss office is nice and neat.
The whole of the other departments are beautiful as well.
Yeah.
And they give this image of it being like sexy, beautiful, and lots of cool people. Yeah.
Yeah, and then we see Jen going down the elevator.
Yeah. Or in English we'd say lift. American English they say elevator. In English we say lift.
Yeah, and it's actually where problem starts. Because it's so dirty and it's so horrible, and it's like the door is stuck, so she has to push it. And yeah, we can see that the IT department is terrible.
Yeah, so we see this contrast. She thinks she's going to have a beautiful office with lots of cool people, but she ends up in the IT department.
It's totally opposite.
So tell me about Roy. What's the first thing he's doing, and what does it tell us about his personality? It tells us everything we need to know about his personality, I think.
The first thing we see Roy doing is that he's in front of the computer doing something, we don't know what, and the phone is ringing, but he's not answering, and it keeps ringing. Then suddenly he picks up and he doesn't listen what people want to tell him. He just say, have you tried to switch it off and...
Have you tried switching
it off and on again? And we can see that he maybe knows about computer, but he's not very good at, I don't know, helping.
Yeah, his personal skills, his people skills. He knows a lot about computers, but he can't interact with people. Yeah, so we're seeing he's lazy, he's indifferent. It takes him a long time to answer the phone. Yeah, and also we see the problems that the people have. What kind of problems do people come to him with?
Silly problems, like that you can tell that the people that is calling is not an expert on computer, not
The
even
people
like
are not experts.
Are not expert. Yeah, that they are not even like slightly good with computers.
Yeah, like they don't know how to turn on the computer.
Yeah.
In the first problem we see. Okay, what about Moz? Morris. Moz is short for Morris. So, what do we see about Moz?
Oh, he's kind of funny looking guy.
Yeah.
But I like actually his outfit.
Yeah, he's quite sort of retro, isn't he?
Yeah.
And he would now be considered cool, but he's not. He's not trying to be cool.
But he seems nice, and the other one seems like rude.
Yeah. Mars is very sweet, but what is he doing on the phone? He's.
He's talking gibberish to people.
Yeah.
Like he's giving
gibberish.
Yeah, like he's giving too much information and too much specific information. And I think that like average user of computer couldn't.
The average user of a computer.
The average user of computer like wouldn't follow his instructions.
Yeah.
They were too complicated.
Yeah, he's a total geek. He's a total nerd. He wants to help, but he's such a geek, and he has so much information that nobody could possibly understand what he's saying. So
yeah, unless you are expert on computers like he is.
So if you were watching that bit and you didn't understand what he said, that's fine, don't worry. Nobody understood what he said. It's only computer geeks would understand. Okay, so when we see Jen come into their office, what do Mars and Roy do?
Oh, it's actually very funny because they're trying to impress her. Roy he was about to enter when she was inside already, and when he saw her, he went back and he wanted to enter again, like changing his voice and pretending that he's having like smart talk on his phone.
Yeah, he's pretending to talk to Mars about intellectual things, and
they're talking about books actually.
Yeah, Tolstoy, and they were talking about, and he was calling him Morris, and they were putting on these kinds of voices. Well, indeed, I think you're right, Morris, like that, trying to impress Jen.
And he was also putting the deodorant on.
Yeah, he put a deodorant on as well to try and impress her.
It was very funny.
But what do we find out about when Mars and Roy find out about that she's going to be their bosses?
They're not very happy about it because I think that they both would like to be boss, and they're not very happy that they have another boss and that she's a woman.
Yeah. So and then Mars and Roy, they have an inkling that she doesn't know about computers because she sees an old computer and she doesn't get excited. So they decide to try and trick her. So how do they try and trick her? What's their plan?
She's trying to trick them also because when she gets to her office and Moss is getting in, she's pretending to talk on the phone, like about computer things.
Yeah, with the boss.
Yeah, with the boss actually, yes. And Moss tells her, "Why don't you connect your phone?" And
yeah. Do you want me to connect your phone up? Which is the joke, because he knows that the phone is not connected up. Yeah. So they try and trick her by talking about computers and making things up. But she realizes that they're playing a trick on her. So how do they eventually find out she knows nothing about computers?
I don't really remember. Help me.
Because it's again the same joke, but she's typing on the computer.
Yeah, and it's the keyboard is not plugged in.
No,
the computer.
The computer is not plugged in. The whole computer is not plugged in with one of those big strange English plugs.
Yeah, I think that it took like 10 seconds to them to tell that she knows nothing about computers.
Yeah, but then what happens? They find out, so they go off to tell Renham, the main boss, don't they?
Yes.
What happens there?
Because they would like her to be fired, I guess.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah, but the boss, he gets upset because he liked the teamwork thing.
Yeah. He's always talking about teamwork, and they hear him on the phone firing people for not working as a team.
Yeah, and he would like to have a great team, and if she goes, there's no team. So they start to pretend that they get along together well, and
in order to save their jobs.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then we have a problem. Roy previously had been rude to one of the people on the phone, and then that person comes down and beats Roy up, gives him a kicking, punches him.
And Jen saves him from the lady.
Yeah, so they decide that Jen actually has a use, that she's important, that they know about computers, but they need someone to interface, to deal with people. So they decide that she is going to be the person who helps them become more popular, because they're not very popular, they're not very cool. So they have a party, and this is the last bit of the thing. Tell us what happens at the end of the party.
So in one moment, Moss is not in the room when everyone is having fun, and Roy starts to tell the story
Yeah.
about the Amsterdam trip they did together.
Yeah.
And-
What story did he want Moz to tell?
He wanted to tell a story about when one of them loses his glasses.
When Moz lost his glasses.
Yes, but they had another story too, and it was about prostitutes. So instead of the story about glasses, he will tell the story about
He
prostitutes.
told the story.
He told the story.
He
about-
told the story about them hiring prostitutes. Yeah?
Yes.
And they were too scared to do anything, and they took them to a theme park. They took them to a fun fair, and that is how the first episode ends. As is traditional with sitcoms, things kind of go back to how they were. So you have the three of them uncool and struggling to become more cool in the IT department. Okay, so the next episode is going to be about words and phrases that you might not have understand. So we'll see you next time. Bye bye.
Bye bye.